Good. All right, here we go.
Here you go.
No, actually, I'm at the solid.
Hello, my name is Dan Kaufman, and I'll be helping MC today. Thank you for coming. As we gather here in Portland, Oregon, in solidarity with the Wet'suwet'en Nation, we want to acknowledge that we are on the traditional land of the Multnomah, Clackamas, Chinook, Tualatin, Kalapuya, Malala, Cowlitz, and many other tribes who made their homes along the Columbia, Tualatin, Willamette, and Clackamas River. We gather in honor with gratitude to the land itself and the people who have stewarded it through the generations. I now introduce Rowena Jackson of the Klamath tribal member to lead us in prayer. Thank you.
Hello everyone. Thank you for showing up at such a short notice. And I also want to say that I'm honored to be here and say the prayer for everybody, and I'm hoping that everybody can live stream it because it's really important that our prayers get out there for the people, our relatives up north. We all know what it's been like with the Standing Rock movement, and some of us in Southern Oregon with the LNG pipeline. So normally when I say a prayer, I just say it off the top of my head, but I really wanted to be very specific about what I'm going to say in this prayer because it's pretty detailed in what's happening up north with our relatives up there. And my friend here is going to play her guitar and play it along while I say the prayer. So, thank you. Waklisat Gyo Sasis Rowena Jackson. How are you all? My name is Rowena Jackson. I am water from Klamath and Crater Lake. I am standing on stolen land, occupying as I speak, and a guest here on Multnomah, Clackamas, Molalla, Kalapuya, Wasco, Siletz, Tualatin, Clackamas, Clatsop, not of America, but of Turtle Island. We are here in solidarity with the Wet'suwet'en people to overcome all this evil. I ask our Creator to watch over our relatives in the Wet'suwet'en territory. Protect them from the RCMP and Coastal Gas Link. Protect the chiefs, the hereditary chiefs. Protect them from bomb threats, death threats, and racism. Keep their spirits lifted high, that we all pray for them daily, for their ways of life are at stake. They need us to help them by praying for them. We can be there for them in this way. We ask for their safety from abuse of power of the RCMP. We pray for the whole world to see the corruption and abuse that has been put up on them. Our prayers will help them stand their ground and protect what is theirs for their future generations to come. We will help them and keep them safe. This prayer is also for the plants, animals, and water. Creator, help us, help them keep their traditional ways of life. Protect their sacred medicinal plants. Protect their animals, the two-legged, the four-legged, the finned ones, and the winged ones. We are at the end of the winter season, the time of reflection and transitioning into the spring season, a time of new beginnings, new things and ideas of how we can come together and support each other in a good way. So when we cross over, we can say we did our best to leave Mother Earth a better place than it was when we were born, for the next generations to come. Our ancestors prayed for us, and is why we are standing here today with our thousands of ancestors. To stand with our Wet'suwet'en relatives and their thousands of ancestors. So I say, united we stand, as we all raise our hands. All my relations.
All right, we'll be having dancing come up next, and I thought there was someone who was going to introduce our Aztec dancers. Or if okay. Okay, they're not quite ready, so maybe I'll do a song or something. Okay.
He said maybe I'll do it.
Does everybody see that banner way up there? Isn't that awesome? Thank you, Amy, for making that happen. Amy Stars. All right, the name of this song is Your Land, and this was inspired by the Water Protectors and the Standing Rock Sioux. And so this song is a new take on this song that we were all, a lot of folks like me were taught as children. This land is your land. It's called Your Land. Claim it's your land, but you don't own the air, you don't own the water, you don't own the air, you don't own the water. You claim it's your land, but you don't own the sun, you don't own the daughter, you don't own the sun, don't own the daughter. You want to take and wreck this land, then this you gotta understand. We know just what you wanna do. We're gonna get in front of you. We're We're gonna stand, we're gonna rise, we're gonna get in front of you. They say it's our land, but we don't own the sun, we don't own the water. We don't own the air, we don't own the water. They say it's our land, but we don't own the sun, we don't own the daughter. We don't own the sun, we don't own the daughter. We want to heal this land. Then this we've gotta understand. It's the most important thing we do. And to the people we'll be true. To the people, for the people, well, we must be true. To the people, for the people, well, we must be true. All right, I'd like you to join me if you want. Stand and rock, rise and rock. Stand and rock and rise and rock. Stand and rock, rise and rock. Stand and rock and rise and rock. All right, who saw Bohemian Rhapsody? You remember that? Boom, boom, cha.
No, that's it. I get it.
Standing rock, standing rock, standing rock. Don't forget standing rock, standing rock, standing rock, standing rock. Don't forget standing rock, standing rock, standing rock, standing rock. Don't forget standing rock. Right. It was a real honor to be able to play, and I didn't know that I was going to get to today. But, you know, we got to fill it in, you know, then let's play some music. We're going to have, I'll just let you know what we've got dancing. We're going to find out more about what's happening with the Wet'suwet'en people. And they are it's an unceded land. There was never a treaty signed. And so they've been invaded by the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. It sounds like there might be some good negotiations that happened and they may have left. So that's good, but we've got to keep eyes on them because when we take our eyes off, that's when they come in. And we know that from past experience. So we'll be finding out more about the Wet'suwet'en the situation there in that the Unistoten camp, the Wet'suwet'en Nation in Canada, and also here where we have a similar situation with pipeline that's going through Southern Oregon. We'll hear more about that. We're going to have dancers as soon as they're ready, and then we will have a break where we'll all take a time to get to know each other. And so one of the big things that we really hope to have happen with this event is for us to meet new people, make new connections. Now there's a possibility that we might all have to hunker down here really soon because of what's happening in the world, which might be Mother Earth grounding us. That's not today. Today we make connections with other people, people that you haven't met, people who don't look like you, people who are not in your same economic bracket. We make connections so that we can continue those connections. And when we hunker down, then we're going to continue to be connecting and speaking out and following what's going on, because the storm will pass, we'll come out. Now is the time for a movement of all people and unity, right? We have to bring unity of all. We've got to come and find common ground, because what we're in so many different ways and areas we're being pulled apart. And by the way, when we're ready, just let me know if we want to switch over to so So that is a big goal for this today, is for us to meet new people and make new connections. After that, we're going to have some spoken word lyrics, and after we meet, then we'll have flute playing, dancing, some other storytelling, and a prayer. When we're all done with the event, we're going to wrap it up with a drum circle and music jam. So it's a lot of good things today. It's going to be a lot of great stuff. Okay, go ahead, Toma. Okay, well, we're going to switch the order, and you know what they say, the plan is everything, the plan means nothing. So Toma's going to come up here and tell us a little bit about what is happening in the Wet'suwet'en territory and here in Oregon as well.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for being here on this beautiful day. So I know that what brought us all together today is the Wet'suwet'en. We've been watching pretty closely what's been happening up there, and we're very uncomfortable with the violence that we've seen on indigenous unceded lands. Up in the Wet'suwet'en territory, which is also known as northern BC, the hereditary chiefs of the Wet'suwet'en have the right to determine what happens on their unceded land. Unceded land means that there were never treaties negotiated with the Canadian government. So the Wet'suwet'en Nation is a sovereign nation. And the Canadian government needs to respect their rights and their laws. In 1997, there was this landmark Supreme Court decision. It was called Delgamuukw versus the Queen. And it recognized the Aboriginal title to their lands. And it also stated that Indigenous people had the sole authority to determine what happens on their lands. And we have 5 hereditary chiefs up there who have said no pipeline. We are determined to protect our land and our water. Okay, so what Justin Trudeau, black-faced Trudeau, and the Canadian government needs to do is abide by the rule of law in Canada. There's also something that is known as the United Nations Rights of Indigenous People, and it says that Indigenous people have a right to free, prior, informed consent about what happens on their lands. So, what the Wet'suwet'en hereditary chiefs have been asking for is that the RCMP, which is the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, leave their territory, and that the pipeline workers leave their territory. There have been a number of blockades that we've been seeing in Gitxsan, Mohawk territory, and the Wet'suwet'en territory. These blockades have proven to be very effective, and for the last 3 days, the hereditary chiefs have been in negotiations with 2 ministers of the Canadian government. And this morning, there was a press release about these meetings. And in order for these meetings to happen, the RCMP and the pipeline workers had to leave their traditional lands in order for the respect to be granted and these conversations to move forward. So the news is that the ministers are now willing to acknowledge the United Nations rights of Indigenous people, that they have the right to free, prior, informed consent at the beginning of these projects, not at the end. And so a lot of things are hanging in the balance right now. The hereditary chief, Woos, has declared that he sees this as a step forward, but this is in no way an end of the problem. What needs to happen is that the Coastal GasLink, which is an LNG pipeline, needs to be abandoned. It needs to be rerouted, or it needs to be abandoned entirely. The hereditary chiefs in the Wet'suwet'en Nation needs to be left alone to live in peace as they have since time immemorial. We are tired of watching the violence inflicted upon indigenous people who are just trying to defend their lands. Enough is enough. Haven't we moved forward as people, as human beings by now? Okay, so this is very similar to what's been happening in Oregon, because right now we're in the midst of a bunch of permits coming out regarding our LNG pipeline, the Jordan Cove Pacific Connector pipeline. And our state has done the work. They followed the letter of the law. They listened to the scientists. The DEQ denied the permit. The DSL denied the extension. The CDCL denied the permit. Now it's hanging in the balance, and we're waiting for the federal decision on the pipeline. And we know that the Trump administration has lined the FERC, which is the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission. He's also lined the Department of the Interior. So we are not expecting a just decision from FERC right now. So we see ourselves in the same, very similar position as these indigenous people in Canada, saying, we don't care what it takes. We're going to protect our land and our water. We expect our government to abide by the rule of law, and we are peaceful and unarmed. But if there is no justice and the courts do not act with justice and do not follow the letter of the law, we will stand to protect our water and our land. So there's a lot that unites us with the Wet'suwet'en, our love for the rivers, our love for human beings and life, our love for the land, our love and appreciation for indigenous people. So what came out of these discussions this morning is that the agreements and the negotiations have to be presented to the Wet'suwet'en Nation first, and then we will hear more details about what transpired in those 3 days of negotiations. So that's a little update. It's really important to keep our eyes on the Wet'suwet'en, because as we know, the calm is always before the storm. And they're way up there in northern BC. This is out in the middle of nowhere, and we have these RCMP pointing guns and watching these peaceful people who are unarmed. It's ridiculous, and it needs to end right away. And the fossil fuel industry needs to be reined in. If we keep on putting these pipelines everywhere, the whole earth is going to ignite into a ball of flames. Okay, so we need to just figure out some options. The people are asking for renewables. Enough is enough with LNG pipelines. Okay, so thank you all for being here. And thank you. I was asked to share a song. So I'll do that, and then I will let the Aztec dancers take over, because I can't wait. Testing. This is a new song, but it's been in my heart, so I wanted to share it with you all today. Don't you know that the tide it is turning? Don't you know that the earth has been burning? Don't you know that the youth have spoken? Don't you know they deserve a better future? Don't you know that our seasons have shifted? Don't you know spring has come so early? Don't you know that the wildfires will be here before we know? Don't you know the The Wet'suwet'en chiefs have spoken, don't you know? They're gonna do everything they can to protect the water on their land. Don't you know? The RCMP and pipeline workers need to get off their unceded land. Don't you know that we're tired of seeing the violence inflicted on indigenous people, defending the water and the land? Don't you know that the tide it is turning? Don't you know that the earth has been burning? Don't you know that we're standing on stolen lands? Don't you know it's time to repair what's been broken? Don't you know that the future is in our hands? Don't you know that together we are unstoppable? Don't you know we must come together now to do everything that we can to protect the water and the land? Don't you know that the tide it is turning? Don't you know that the earth has been burning? Don't you know that it's time to protect the sacred? Yes, I know you know. Now I know you know. Thank you. Thank you for being here today.
Wali Teotla, good afternoon. Buenas tardes a todos. I want to wish everybody a beautiful afternoon. Very, very happy that we're able to join in this. I was just listening to what is happening up north. I teach Chicano history at Portland Community College. And when I heard that they're in negotiations, you know, as a native man, negotiations, that word is a little wishy-washy. Oftentimes, betrayal follows that soon after. I don't have an answer. How do you deal with that? We're not, we don't typically just pick violence to dictate what we want. But I know the people out there have been fighting hard. They've been using different tactics, occupying the land, maintaining the land, keeping people out for a while. They've been doing that for several years. I've been tracking that. And and then finally, those folks have been using force to go in there. That's because that's what they understand. That's what they've been doing for the last 5,000 years. That's the way they handle things. And it's so I'm not holding my breath. What can I do here? I'm gonna have to figure that out. I know that here in my community, immediate community, maybe there, like the gentleman said earlier, you know, it's time to like shake each other's hands. Meet a stranger, just shake their hands. Introduce yourself. You don't have to go into a story about it. Introduce yourself. Yeah, maybe there's cops among us. Infiltration, typical. We know you're out there. Some of us know you. So you're not fooling anybody anymore. Anyway, we're gonna get going. This is a tradition that's been gradually being revived this last 50 years, spreading from Mexico up north to the California, Southwest region, and now it's here 24 years, going on 24 years here in the Northwest, starting in Corvallis, Oregon, moving on to Salem, Portland, now Seattle. And now we gather for ceremony often, and do think about our brothers and our sisters who are here. You know, and at times, you know, they invite us over, and we love to invite them over so we can share our traditions and our way and our prayer and our way of prayer, our way of living, because that's what ultimately what our prayer is about. It's a way of living our lives, trying to strive in a world that's hostile towards that. So I'll leave it at that because we're getting cold. Oh, Mateo. So thank you again, everybody. And like I was saying, for us to be here and wearing what we're wearing, our regalia, you know, it's a form of resistance because, especially with America, they always try to take away stuff, you know, and they try to take away how we look. So for us being here and doing what we're doing, you know, it's really powerful. It's not just for us, but for the kids, you know, because they're the ones that are going to be leading these kind of stuff in the future. And with that said, we're gonna close off with one more dance, and thank you for having us again.
they do the same thing. But everything, what we do is we always ask permission. So when we start, when we are ask permission for the 4 elements. When we go forward, fire, maybe fire. Then water. And after that, air. Mother Earth. That's music, but then the last dance that we did, these are stories. So he was taking a story of how you plant the corn. There's a process. So so then after that, what it is that the clouds are coming. Once it goes down, then it's growing the corn. And after that, what you do? Hey, so thank you again. We're gonna close. We're gonna go to the chat. It's Ometeos. Ome is you. The quality of everything. Teos. A lot of people get confused. In Latin, it's God. But for us, it's not. It's energy. It's everything that evolves around us. So, and then like a lot of people, oh, Tzalos, the god of rain. Tzalos literally means the mixture of the earth. So there's no God. All these things. So, yeah.
Okay, everyone give a big hand to the Aztec dancers. We are so honored that they were able to join us today. Thank you for blessing our event with your beautiful ceremonial song and dance. Okay, so I want to take a moment. First of all, I wanted to mention that today was the Women's March, and Missing Indigenous Women was represented there, and I wanted to mention something about that, the Missing Indigenous Women, and I'm going to start saying, calling it by a different name. I'm going to say Missing and Murdered Indigenous People, because it needs to be more inclusive, rather. The reason we wear red, the reason that you see some handprints over some people's faces, It's to bring awareness about this crisis of missing and murdered Indigenous women. And the man camps that are associated with the pipelines, whether or not it's the Jordan Cove Pacific Connector pipeline in Southern Oregon, or the Coastal GasLink LNG pipeline up in Wet'suwet'en territory, what the Indigenous people fear is something very real, because we see that every time pipelines go into these territories, the missing and murdered people, Indigenous people, the numbers just skyrocket. Because when men get out in the middle of nowhere, they're working for a toxic pipeline, carrying on, getting rowdy, that's when the Indigenous people go missing. This is why these pipelines need to stop now. Okay, so I just wanted to point out the association between the man camps, the pipelines, and missing and murdered Indigenous. In the United States, Indigenous women are 10 times more likely to go missing and murdered. Up in Canada, it's actually worse. Indigenous women are 12 times more likely than non-Indigenous women to go missing or to be murdered. So I want you to all do some research, find out about missing and murdered Indigenous people. Okay, with that, I want to let you know how you can help the Wet'suwet'en right now. So I don't know if you've heard of this, but it's the Wet'suwet'en Supporter Toolkit. If you can all find that, there's information about how to donate money. You need to donate money directly to the sites listed on the Wet'suwet'en Supporter Toolkit. There's also handy ways to, advice on how to create a rally, how to create a fundraiser, how to support them. And it's really important right now to listen to the Wet'suwet'en directly, because that is a problem, is that they're being ignored and they're not being acknowledged. So in order to help them, please get the correct information. Go to the Wet'suwet'en Supporter Toolkit, please. And if you have questions, come up and talk to me, talk to Dan. He's one of the organizers, and we'd be happy to help you with any of that. So, okay, so anyway, let's all take a moment right now to break the ice and try to introduce yourself to someone that you don't know, and start a chat with them, ask them what brings them here, start a conversation about the weather, whatever it is. Just be friendly, and let's try to spread the love. We've been hearing about the surveillance, that Canada's Pembina is the company that owns the Jordan Cove Energy Project, and we just found out about all of the massive militarized surveillance that they've been using on us anti-pipeline water protectors, and it's outrageous. So, you know what? We need to show them we're non-violent, we're not armed, we're loving people, we have a love for the water and the land, and that's why we do what we do. So let's be friendly, be social, mingle, right now.
right, hey, this is Dan. We're going to take a little intermission right now. We will be back, and we'll have another broadcast, hopefully in the right framework. But anyway, hope you're enjoying. There's a lot of people live streaming this live right now, so there's other ones as well. Thanks for watching.
So that's what the Hong Kong protesters, which is a youth movement that then the parents started following and getting involved with. So I think let's combine the two. So it would be water is life, be like water. 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 Water is life. Yeah. All right. All right. We'll let the drama pass. You know, there's a lot of drama going on, and we'll just be the drama llama. You know. And goodbye. And yeah, we'll let the drama pass. We need to, with people who have the heart in the right place, we need to bring those folks in, and we need to find ways that we can come together. Speaking of which, I would like to now introduce a gentleman who during the Don't Shoot Portland, Black Lives Matter movement, we did some actions at City Hall, and I met this gentleman, Ashanti Hall. Ashanti Hall, who goes by the stage name Blacktacular, has been actively involved in the hip hop and drum and bass since the mid-90s. As part of the group Shackle Snappers, he collaborated with the underground artists like Mick Crenshaw and Awkward Strange to leverage high energy delivery with solid social commentary. So there's affinity there. As an activist and part of the Fight Church collective, he's helped raise thousands of pounds of food, clothing, and survival gear. Woo! Yeah! For Portland's school children and houses community. He's currently an engagement specialist at Clackamas County's only family shelter, and has a single out on vinyl on Ohm Resistance record. I'd like everybody to welcome Blacktacular.
What up, y'all? Could you turn down my lows and turn up my highs real quick, please? And I'll stand back here. All right. What up, y'all? I am Blacktacular. I've been in the struggle for a real long time. My name is Ashanti Lumumba. It means warrior of wisdom. I was named after the Ashanti tribe in Ghana, and after Patrice Lumumba, the first democratic prime minister of the Congo. As such, I've spent a long time fighting all the same stuff we have to fight, and all these fights are intersectional. Turn it down a little bit, would you? I can speak pretty loud a bit. And so I guess one of my main focuses has been like the struggle we all have to deal with, and how police intersect with whenever we're trying to do what's right. I also really feel with this the Wet'suwet'en people, how they're being harassed by the Canadian Mounties, and I've had my own struggles here in Portland with the mounted police here, especially when I was a cannabis activist. So as such, I'm gonna go ahead and spit 3 little verses about I don't know, the anger that drives me and what's going on with police, and then I'm gonna go into a little bit more community unity and fun. All right. So we'll start off with, if you think my anger is misplaced, then you never saw the look in the child's face when those police ordered cans of Mason let loose. The truth is, it's a disgrace how they're running packs on the backs of their horses with unidentified sources and confidential informants. You secretly indict the people they don't like, and also the folk who speak for what's right, right? Right or wrong, I'm on a tangent. Why? Because I don't understand this, man. There are people once, and they wanted to help, but they soon lost themselves because of all the details of the vets tell the rookies, and the rookies believe. And the people are blinded because they don't want to see the cops are a gang who maintain and vain status quo with oversight committees all made up their own and tell them it's all good and gravy. Just go murder mentally ill and receive 2 weeks paid vacation and pay with the budget you spill. We keeps it real. So wake up and take up arms if you have to, or kick back in your couch and wait for these pigs to blast you. I'm gonna act a fool. I'm gonna act an idiot. I'm gonna keep my ear out for the clip clop to get in pigs on horseback. I wanna force that competition, man. I'm sick of waiting, and I got no patience. Have you ever heard the names Kendra or James? Ever seen a pig hide his head in shame and reach back at a nightstick and smash over mentioner and scream at the top of his lungs? Won't you learn your fucking lesson, bro? See, here's what I want to see. I just want to see some compassion, some accountability. This is why we're moved to action. This is why we're spilling these grievances into the street, because they need to be redressed. Who do y'all serve? Who do y'all protect? How do you expect to get an ounce of my respect and every third time I see you got a knee in someone's neck? All I want to see is see them talk to their fellow police and tell them what they did was wrong with them, what we will pretend they will not see. I want them to remember why they took their damn jobs in the first place, and I want them to distance themselves from those who thrive on hurt and hate. You see, when we get out on the stage, it's not to compete. We do it to move our feet and get your ass in the streets. We do it to make put your phone back in your pocket. We do not come to talk shit, we come to rock it. We come to practice what we preach and learn what we teach. And reach deep within each of our beats and make them grit their teeth and say, ah! That's the way I like it right there. What we share is so rare, so steer right to your fears and let's get down. If y'all would just please release your minds from the confines of the times we're living in. Don't be giving in to the merry-go-round of clowns that sound so vivid when pumped through your speakers. Because today's media is nothing but a freak show, just like a three-ring circus, whose purpose is to knee-jerk us and to hurt us into feeling so worthless. So I think we're just gonna spirits in the clouds of your fears and your doubts. Because it's clear to me now is that a beer on a couch is not the only way to live, but the best way to die slowly. And if we could only just smile, we got a chance. Just dance, we got our knees left. Just wild on your b-boy stance and act, you might be deaf. I'm always smiling, and I'm always smiling. I'm usually screaming top of the lungs. And attempt to remind y'all the day is not yet done. It's time to have fun. I can feel it, I've been feeling it. Let me hear you say one love, one love. That's all I got, y'all. Thank you so much. I'm honored to be here.
Let's hear it again for Blacktacular. Thank you. Do we see what we got back here behind us right now? Oil trains. Okay, they have exploded by 4 times since 2018 as they expanded the Zenith terminal, which they're headed down to right now for processing. This is all part of the Black Snake, which we have to stop if we're going to have a planet for our grandchildren and great-grandchildren. So I thank you all for being here today, because that's what it's about. And the land defenders in Wet'suwet'en territory, in Wet'suwet'en Nation, unceded, are helping protect us and our grandchildren. Even though we didn't ask them, they're doing it for us. So let's remember that and appreciate, and thank you for being here in solidarity. So I would like to next introduce our next speaker. This is Christopher Franciso. Christopher, are you ready? Christopher also goes by Man Red, and he has a lot of wisdom for us in his story, and I've heard him speak a couple times now, and so I will pass the mic.
My name's Chris. I'm from New Mexico, Shiprock, New Mexico. I've been living here in Portland, and I graduated from Portland State in 2013. I'm a late starter. I'm a little older. I'm not young, but I mostly talk to like a lot of the 7th generation, because it's going to be this generation, the young people, to stand up and rise up. And I see them doing that in Canada. We used to have a group back in the early 2000s. We used to take a group of kids up there and get involved in a lot of the action, that was going on up there, with Sun Peaks, with tiny house. Now they're all grown up. They're all tiny house warriors now, the women. And they were like 16, 17 years old back then. And so right now it's like, I was watching like a lot of the YouTube videos. I see a lot of the OGs, the Warrior Society have stepped back, and a lot of the younger people are stepping up, and it's a good thing. And I'm going to be going, me and this other friend of mine, we're going to be going up to the healing center up there at Suatin, Wet'suwet'en, and we're going to be supporting them up there, and then we're going to go like join some other actions that are going across Canada over with the Tayanga Nega, I think that's how you say that, the Mohawk, the Hadassa people. 2016, we were up there, and that time it was the actions that are going across Canada this isn't the first time they did that. They've been doing that for a long time. They've been doing that for like 500 years. And when we were up there in 2016, there's this they were expanding this big old housing onto Mohawk land, and they didn't want them, so they just dug a big old ditch on the highway, and the town was like getting pissed off at them, so the Warrior Society went in there and just blew up their transformer and drug it right there, and they didn't have lights, and so it brought them to the knees. You know, like right now they're negotiate. I don't know. Sometimes I kind of like someone was saying that negotiation. You know, it's like I was down in Mauna Kea. They're making negotiation. You know, and Standing Rock they're making negotiation. But that it was always that environmental impact statement, and that they never go by their own laws. They never, you know, they don't. It's there, but you know, it's like, okay, we're doing this and this and this, but it, you know, the BIA is never going to, you know, here in the U.S. They never really abide by their own laws against indigenous people. But the way we did it, one struggle in early 2000 in Birmingham, New Mexico, they were trying to bring to the table this is called Desert Rock Power Plant, but good thing the elders were mindful, because they're the ones that live out in the sticks and the boonies, and they live, you know, they're still living without hardly any electricity, running water. And they were mindful enough that they went and through their ceremonies, because they say Toye and not water is life. And Lakota people, they say Mini Wachoni. And in Hawaii, they have the way they say it. So every indigenous people on this continent, in this world, we understand what, you know, water is life. And so the elders were mindful enough that, you know, they knew that the government came and they said, hey man, put your thumbprint, because they don't really know how to speak English, and they put your thumbprint on this contract, and then we're going to give you lots of money. But they didn't do that. They said, nah man, Toye not, you know, water is life. And so it started right before it got started. We stopped and we had the young people along with the elders, and by that time the whole world was watching. People from France, you know, supported. All the European countries were on board, and we, you know, we took him to court. And then Richard Gonzalez was running on the ticket of alternative energy, and yet there was like a power plant being built in his own backyard. He was the governor of New Mexico, so we approached him too and asked him, and so he shut that down. So we were very lucky in a way that, you know, we organized together with other people of color. It wasn't just the people. There's like other tribes that were there too. They understand Tuanat, the water is life. So that's basically what I do. I just kind of go around, support relatives, you know, whatever's going on. And back in the when I was like a young kid, you know, I joined the American Indian movement down in New Mexico, and ever since then, you know, it's just been in my spirit, because it was either that or the boarding school. The boarding school, they're trying to make us into a robot, but the American Indian movement, they were talking naturally and freedom, and so that sounded better to me. So ever since then, you know, I've been, learning from them. And then that moved on into other struggles that were going on in the 70s. And finally, Peabody Coal Mine was shut down after a long fight. But still, you know, the Tota Desert Rock Power Plant is still on the table. They're going to bring it back now with Trump. So you got to be mindful and keep paying attention to what they're doing. Because once you go to sleep, they're going to sneak around. That's what that one elder was saying. It's like a little mouse. They'll start digging a hole in a wall, and then you block it up. They'll go back around this way and dig another hole over here and to try to get inside. So you have to be mindful of all those things, you know. I mean, this is just what the elders told me. It's nothing I came up with, you know. I listened to the elders because they had the wisdom. And dude said that I had the wisdom, but it's them. I learned it from them, and I respect them. Respect your elders because they have that knowledge, and some of them are passing on with that knowledge, you know. And that boarding school has really did a number on us, so we have a lot of traumas now. So they have a healing center up there, and that's where I'm going because, you know, I figured, you know, like I'm gonna check it out and hang there for a little bit and then go on, because it's not going to be over, man. I mean, it's still going to be going on after you know, everybody goes home, you know, like someone was saying, after the white people go back, you know, we have to live there. And the water that comes down, Canada still has the cleanest water. When I was up there with the Tiny House Warriors, they told me, since you're in our territory, you have to go inside that water, because that water is going to make you alive. That water is going to wake up your senses. The mountains are going to welcome you. The water is going to welcome. So it's very important. Water is very important to us, and I know it's important to you too. When you turn on that water faucet, think about the indigenous people, and also think about your children and their grandchildren, because they're going to be living, you know, in that polluted water. They're going to be drinking that stuff, man. So I don't want to take too much time, but I have like some posters that postcards over there too that I'm selling to get myself up there, and photographs were taken on October 27th, 2016 at Standing Rock. We built a village right in front of the pipeline that was coming through, and then, you know, the National Guard and Morton County came in and demolished all our stuff. But I was walking around, I shoot 35 millimeters, so I took some pictures and film. So I'm trying to get rid of them over there. If you want to come by and talk to me some more, and, you know, I can talk to you. All right, yeah.
Thank you, Christopher Francisco. All right, we're getting close to the end now. So, but afterwards there will be a music jam and drum circle, so you're welcome to stay. There's been a couple people who have asked me where the nearest restrooms are. There may still be some down there at Saturday Market, and if there's not, there's a permanent public restroom just a little further on. I don't know about this direction. So that's just a little housekeeping there. We're getting close to wrapping it up. We'll have a flute player at the end here, and right now we're going to have our closing prayer, and Rowena from the Klamath tribe, Rowena Jackson from the Klamath tribe, our Klamath tribal member, will lead us in the closing prayer. And thank you for being here. This is really important.
Hello again. I feel like I should ask a special request from everybody, because we're kind of in a half circle. Is it possible to make a full circle for this prayer? Thank you. This is great. And if we could all hold hands and make it more powerful like that. Once again, I thank you all for being here, showing your solidarity for our relatives up north, way northern. They really, really appreciate us all being here and showing our support. I know their ancestors are happy because we're standing here with our ancestors. Doesn't matter what color you are, you still have ancestors. Just want you to know that. So, thank you, Creator. We all thank you. We thank you for touching our hearts today in a good way and helping us show our support for our people up north, our relatives, the Wet'suwet'en people. You know, times have been really hard on a lot of our tribes. A good portion of the world showed their support for the people of Standing Rock. And now we're showing support for our relatives up north, the Wet'suwet'en people. So we stand here in a circle today and hold our hands and show solidarity and put our prayer all into one, because we're all united and we're standing united. All people of color, for our relatives. This is a special prayer for them. And all of our hearts are put together. I thank you, Creator, for putting your spirit in the people to be here to run this rally. It started out as an idea with our friend Dan Kaufman. I asked you, Creator, to bless him in a good way, because it started with him. His heart was touched. So I thank you, Dan, and bless you. Bless your heart. And all the rest of us that come together after that to be united. And I ask you, Creator, to bless everybody when we part our ways today, that we're all safe. We make it home to our destinations all in a good way. And we let our relatives and friends know that we made it home safe. Because that's how we keep track of each other. It's how we show that we actually care and respect each other in that way. Thank everybody that was here and showed and shared their strengths and their songs and their dances. That's powerful. We are powerful. And I thank the ancestors here, the territory that we're standing on right now. I thank them. We thank them for allowing us to be here today and share that space, occupy this space, all in a good way. Thank you, all my relations.
All right. Thank you, Rowena Jackson. Thank you for leading us in prayer and closing us in prayer. Thank you for all the folks who supported us in making this happen. I'd like to say thank you to Toma Deavers and Carla Cruz and Amy Sitars, who we were the crew who put this together. And yeah, like it was just an idea from me. So, and I'm calling, I think a good name for the group, someone asked is their name for the group. It's Grupo Solidario. So, does that work? Does that work? Okay, good. So we're going to have our last performer come up, and again, there's a music jam, and also one bit of really important information that I just found out. There is a bathroom right over the other side of that container vehicle thing there. Okay, so, yeah. So, with that said, I'm going to introduce oh, we've got a better introduction than the one I've got here. Okay, much better. Thank you. Nancy, thank you. Also, I want to thank Nancy, too. She jumped on board and was like, how can I help?
Hi, everyone. My name is Nancy. I'm with Fuerza Oregon. And next, we have Grupo Latitudes. And it's an Andean music. And it's Sir Tito Amaya. Give it up for them, please.
Ahora sí, con el corazón del Ecuador viene este tema que dice a bailar. Nuestra tierra, our land. New Cayata. Everybody dance together. Vamos. Vamos a danzar, vamos a bailar San Juanito con los tambores y las palmas. Sí, se puede. Tito Amaya, grupo Blacktacular. Muchas gracias, estamos contentos de estar aquí. Gracias. Jacqueline Luna de la percusión. Tito Amaya, grupo Latitudes. Y vamos a seguir bailando con un tema que es dedicado para todo el que esté fuera de un país que lo viene a hacer. This is dedicated for everybody who is with no land in the world. But over here, we have our proper land together in our heart. This song, we composed the song. This is un ritmo de Afro-Andes group, Afro-Andean beat. Es una saya. Entonces vamos a bailar saya. Ese es el ritmo. De saya desde el balcón bailando, desde el balcón bailando. Una libélula vuela con mariposas monarcas a 100 millas de lejos. Una libélula vuela con mariposas monarcas hasta San Luis Potosí. Claro que sí, allá en México. A México desde Bolivia con su alegre caminar, vuelan en libertad. ¡Frío! Una libélula vuela, mariposas monarcas a 100 millas de luz. Una libélula vuela con mariposas monarcas hasta San Luis Potosí. Ahora sí, compadre, venga. Everybody together, vamos juntos. El pueblo unido, bailando, cantando desde montañas andinas hasta mi Cusco. Bailando, cantando desde el Cañar hasta el Cusco, llegan a Michoacán. Bailando, cantando desde montañas andinas hasta San Luis Potosí, allá en México, hasta Portland. Y un abrazo a Yuyín también, claro que sí, eso. Y las ciudades y Sierra Madre Oriental vuelan en libertad. Una libélula vuela con mariposas monarcas hacia el vinagre. Una libélula vuela con mariposas monarcas hacia el Minérica. Una libélula vuela con mariposas monarcas hasta San Luis Potosí. Ahora sí nos vamos, this is the last one, the last dance over here. Bailando, cantando desde montañas andinas llegan al Ecuador. Bailando, cantando desde el Cañar hasta el Cusco llegan a México. bailando, cantando, desde montañas andinas hasta Oregón, compadre. Gracias, Grupo Latitudes. Un aplauso al nuevo miembro. Un miembro de B. ¿Quieren otra? Vamos. Oye. Cinco. Este es otro ritmo. This is a Bolivian rhythm. It's called Cinco. You follow the drums over here. Necesitamos más ayuda con los bombos. We need more help with the drums. If somebody have the drums, please come over here and follow Jacqueline. Alguien que tenga un tambor. Somebody have a drum over here. Aquí. Right here, drums. Ella tiene un tambor. doing it together. Ay, 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 ay. 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 Bien, así me gustan esas banderas. Muchas gracias a todos, de verdad que sí, estamos contentos de estar aquí. Thank you so much, everyone. Gracias.
Yeah.
Muchas gracias, Tito Amaya. Yes, it was wonderful music. This is a great way to close it out. We're gonna take a moment. Let's do another get together, meet new people. All right, and then if people want to, maybe we do more jamming. You know, I'm not seeing the amount of drums I was hoping to see. That's nice, and I'm glad there were some. But we've got guitars. If people have a song, there's even a bass in there. So maybe there's more opportunity for lyrical madness and wonderfulness. So anyway, thank you so much for coming. This has been great. Don't forget, we have a jar for the Wet'suwet'en people. You can go online, find out about solidarity and how to do solidarity right. There's a lot to learn, but don't let it keep you from doing something. All right, good night.